And a lot of times we don't like the fact that we built for hard stuff, but you built for hard stuff. How do I know? Because what was meant to kill you gave you life. What was meant to destroy you developed you. So what's in front of you don't stand a chance. I'm built for this.
Welcome to the Art of Being Freed, where we talk about growth mindset for creators and all things in between. And on today's episode of the Art of Being Freed, we're going to be speaking with the master of master mindset. This gentleman is a highly sought after speaker, leader, award-winning coach, and best-selling author of the book Built for This, Why This Time is Different. He is headlining an event in Washington, D.C. called Vyrós, a gathering of heroes. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the Art of Being Freed, Mr. Aaron Victor. Aaron, welcome to the show. Very happy to have you here.
Come on, Freed. What's up, baby?
What's
Listen,
good?
man, I was trying to hold myself because you got me over here super excited, you know. And let's be clear, I need to take you with me, man, because that was an amazing intro, and I'm humbled. Like, hey, man, I guess he is kind of talking about me. Freed, what's up, man? We finally got it together. What's up, man?
I want to make sure the introductions are on point, and you deserve the grandest of introductions. I was talking about before we hit record. I will have weeks that are kind of bumpy, and you have 3 questions, which we're going to get to, that always get me pumped up. So before we dive into it, you've got this book, Built for This, which is an amazing journey on building yourself through self-reflection. Talk to the audience about how you got to this point. Obviously, you didn't just come out with a book and become a best-selling author. What was the journey like to get to this point?
Yeah, man. So, Freed, is interesting. When I look at the journey of being able to get to being a best-selling author, man, that thing started back when I was in high school. And when I talk about starting back in high school, one of the things that when I was younger, man, I had a really bad temper, like really bad, super emotional kid. And my mom used to tell me, like, sometimes you just, you need to get it out. So, when you get really worked up and your emotions are blinding you, you can't think, it makes it difficult to convey, what's really in your heart and, being misunderstood. So my mom got me into art, honestly, of journaling. And, so I got notebooks all over the house where I'd just be writing and getting thoughts out, whether it was about the girl at school that broke my heart or, not doing what I wanted to on the basketball court or parents on my nerves or prayers to God. Like, I just had notebooks all over the place. And so you kind of get used to it. And then speed ahead, pandemic, I had shifted my location or moved my location originally from Detroit, moved down to Nashville, Tennessee. Pandemic happens less than a year since I've been there. And so then all of a sudden you're going, hey, what do I do? Like, everything that I know has changed. The world has changed. And I needed to find my voice. And so after some encouragement by one of my friends, she was like, you need to find your voice. And it goes, okay, so we're going to go back to what you used to do. So probably for about a year, from probably that moment into somewhere into 2021, maybe 22-ish, I just every morning would get up and pray, and whatever I got, I'd write it down. Whatever I got, I'd write it down. And I was like, oh, some of this stuff's pretty cool, but I just write it down. So I had journals and pages of just thoughts, ideas, statements that I have been journaling for almost 2 years. And I felt this push because people kept saying, Aaron, how do you think the way that you think? What are you doing? How do you get there? How do you keep your mind there? And one of the things I realized is that we don't do a good enough job, Freed, of putting ourselves in a position where we make time for self-reflection. I do think that that's one of the most underutilized pieces of self-care is self-reflection. So knowing I was supposed to do a book or put out something literary, God says, here, what do you do? What do you use? Use what you've been doing over the last almost 2 years. So I go back and dust off the journals and I'm looking like, oh man, this stuff is good. Man, people can use this. And so I took a beta group, put out about 120 quotes in like 3 different categories, and people got to selecting and then we started shaping and strategically, put the best-selling author plan in place, and God was gracious. It's blessed the people, and here we are.
That's amazing. And you talk about moving and making adjustments. a theme that I'm focused on that I'd like to convey to the audience is the art of reinventing yourself. If I want to recreate myself, but there may be past traumas holding me back, you said you had a temper. I don't know if that was necessarily a trauma, but it was certainly an experience. How do I, in the spirit of why this time is different, talk to me about how I can recreate myself without hanging on to those past setbacks?
Two things. You change your language, and then you have to change your thinking. So the language, both of them are connected. So the thinking piece goes, I'm just going to give a very logical point. And when people are trying to reinvent themselves and holding on to past traumas, it's a very emotional piece. But I want to be logical here intentionally for a reason. The first thing I want you to think about, whether it happened in your life 5 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago, 5 years ago, or 50 years ago, they all have a common thing. They're in the past. There's nothing you can do about 5 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago, 5 years ago, or 50 years ago. They're in the past. You cannot change it. And so what happens a lot of times is that we look at the past as something that we can change. It is actually one of the most futile tasks of energy and mental capacity that you can do by going back and saying, man, if I could have changed, man, I wish I would have done. Or the word that I literally tried to remove from my vocabulary is the word should. Because there's nothing positive that comes out of should. There's no statement that's going to be positive that comes behind should. So when we get the logical piece that there's nothing I can do with the past to change it, then we have to ask ourselves the question, what makes it positive? Is there anything positive in the past? It actually is, because in the past produces insights that leveraged appropriately produce wisdom. There was a time where I had ballooned up to almost 300 pounds. Now as a former college basketball player and everything else, it's ridiculous for me to be that heavy. So I could go, man, in the past, man, I was 30 to 40 pounds smaller. Man, I can't believe, man, I let myself get out of this, man. I'm so ashamed that I got there. Or I could say, in the past, what was it that allowed for me to be in shape? Oh, what it was that allowed for me to be in shape was, I was disciplined on my eating, I was consistently working out, and I was intentional on the results that I was trying to get. So I can leverage that insight and use that now, moving forward, to get myself in shape now. I can't do anything about the fact that I'm out of shape now, but I can look to the past for insights to figure out how do I rewrite my future moving forward. So that's why this time can be different if we leverage the insights from the past to rewrite our story moving forward.
Talk about a couple things that hit there for me. Journaling, certainly. What was it that allowed me to be? And then you could fill in the blank from there. Sometimes people have dreams as kids, and as they become adults, they lose out on some of that creative imagination. Maybe something didn't go the way they wanted it to go. Tell me, talk to us about a time that you felt like you were going one way, but it didn't work out. How did you get back? How did you get back into this space? Because we all have something. Like I wanted to be a big rapper. I wanted to be the next LL Cool J. Obviously, time has passed. Not saying it can't happen, but how do you readjust when things don't typically go or not necessarily go your way?
Free, we ain't got that kind of time to give you all of the things that didn't go right, but I got one. We don't have all that kind of time, sir. I wouldn't do that to your people. But I'll use the one that's very obvious for a lot of people. You heard me reference that I played basketball in college. I'm 6'8", if you ever get a chance to meet me in person. So I'm a big dude. And so people are like, man, why you didn't play pro, man? You could have done this. Why you didn't go to the NBA? All that stuff. So I'm going to tell you a couple reasons, things that happened that kind of got me to where I needed to be. So one, when I was in college playing basketball, the original goal was to minimally go overseas and play, make a bunch of money, come back, establish my own business, and work on my own. Just in my family, in my heart, we got a bunch of hustlers and entrepreneurs all on the right side of the law, right? We just got some hustlers. That's what we do. And so I knew the corporate thing really wasn't my thing. But I'm going, Hey, let me go overseas, make some money, leverage this education, come back. So speed ahead, I'm graduating, finishing my senior year, and I didn't have the senior year that I wanted. I didn't have any agents that were really advocating for me. So I was kind of advocating in this overseas space by myself. And so as I'm trying to do this by myself, I sent over a few tapes, didn't get a response back. Then there was a camp that came up that I really didn't have the money for. So I missed that. And so I'm going in my head, am I getting ready to hang these sneakers up and it's just going to be over with for me? And there was an opportunity that they were at the time getting ready to relaunch the old ABA. That's where Dr. J came from originally, George Gervin. And so there was this opportunity that they were relaunching it, but you had to go through a series of camps, free agent camps to get there. So I go to the first free agent camp, I kill it, I get moved on, I get invited to the Detroit franchise's free agent camp. So I get to camp, playing well, free, doing my thing, having a ball. Man, boom, twist my ankle really bad. But I'm crazy enough in the head that I'm like, my coach used to say, are you hurt or are you injured? I was like, I'm hurt. So I kept going. Now I'm limiting some of the things that I can do because my mobility is a little suffering because of the injury. I can't jump as high, but I'm out to compete and I'm having a great time. Speed ahead, I got cut. Now I'm faced with, at the end of this, and George Gervin was the coach of that franchise. And George Gervin comes to me, he says, man, you're good. He said, you just got to keep playing, man. You're good. You're good at this. So my brain goes, all right, what's the next step? Next step now, Free, goes to, I could play in some little bitty league in the States over like North Dakota for maybe like $250 a week. And if they put you on the injury reserve, which they normally would, then you don't make no money. Or I can take this job that I still got and use my education and make that happen. So I made a pivot and I went to corporate. Now, if I look back and I talk to that young guy, I probably go to that North Dakota league for a little bit free and give myself about 2 years to kind of chase the dream, because what I was trying to do was to skip the process, if I'm honest. I'm going, I'm already climbing this corporate ladder. Let me take this money, climb this ladder, and I'll be okay. I don't want to start at the bottom of this basketball ladder and have to climb that. The issue is that no matter what ladder you're on, you still got to climb. And I thought I was getting away from it by going to a different one. Now, where did that pivot or that reinvention find? I still, to this day, me and my brother and my friends, we will talk about basketball, X's and O's, IQ, from AAU level to high school level to NBA, college. We love it. I am a basketball junkie. The reinvention when it came to basketball became me becoming a coach. And so got a chance to coach in high school. And a couple of my players, and one of my players from high school got a chance to get drafted in the first round in the NBA and played 6 years in the NBA. Beautiful. Then from being able to take the love from the game, the desire to coach, understanding how to take mindset and help people achieve their goals on the court, I got a chance to be the camp director for Willie Green, who is now the Pelicans coach, the head coach of the Pelicans in the NBA. When he was in the NBA as a basketball player, I ran his camp for almost 10 years. So being able to have the influence and being connected to the game was the pivot. It was like, even though I still am not playing formally or officially, where can I influence the game and give them what the game gave to me? And that was a beautiful pivot that I 100% love and really have enjoyed and still enjoy now.
One big takeaway, no matter the ladder, you still have to climb. How do you recognize when it's time to make a pivot that is going to be good for you? Because some people think about, we used to say, we don't lose, we just make adjustments. But some people will have to make a pivot and they're kind of forced to make that pivot. If you can go back and talk to that young man, like, do you recognize when to make the pivot? Can you proactively make a pivot, or do you have to just adjust with the times?
I think it's nuance. And I think sometimes what keeps people from embracing that pivot or that redirection is they feel like it's a black or white. They feel like it's an either or, where it really is both. It's a nuance. What do I mean by nuance? If we stay on the terms of a basketball court, there's this strategy from a defensive perspective where they call it a press. And when they press you, they're trying to speed you up. They're trying to put you in a different position. They're trying to get you to not do what you do well to get what they call a turnover, so the defense gets the ball back. They can run up the score so they can win. Extra possessions. Typically, if you're watching basketball, it happens usually at the end of games when teams are behind. Now, in that pressing, what they teach from a fundamental perspective is that you have to, one, be able to face the pressure. If you turn away from the pressure, you allow for the defense to get an edge. So as things are happening in life, the first thing I would tell somebody is face the pressure. If it's your fear, face it. If it's a tough conversation, face it. If it's a deadline that's causing you a little bit of pressure, face it. Because when you face it, now you give yourself the ability through your gifting and your experiences to be able to see it ain't that bad. Or being able to face it, you know exactly what you need to do to get through it. Now, some of the strategies as a coach we would teach, hey, if you faster than that guy, just dribble around him and keep going. If they're coming at you where they might have a little bit more pressure on you, now you might have to pivot, back to what you asked, pivot to find the vantage point necessary for you to be successful to get the ball up the court. When we face the pressure and embrace the pivot gives us the ability to find the new angle based on the information currently presented to us that allows for us to be successful moving forward. The pivot isn't an indictment, it's actually a gift because it allows for you to neutralize the pressure, get yourself a new angle, and make the decision that ultimately leads you to where you want it to be in the first place.
That's amazing. And this is actually a good pivot to the next question, because you talk about facing it. Face it. Face the fear, take it head on. And that's something that heroes do. So let's talk about heroes. Let's talk about the gathering of heroes and superstars and people who are willing to face the pressure head on, dribble around it, keep going, or make pivots. I want to give you an opportunity to talk about Vyrós. Talk to us about what's leading up to that. Why is this happening? What's the tangible transformation that comes out of it? I'd really love to hear more about this event.
Yeah, so I appreciate that. You being a guy who's multi-talented in characters and cartoons, I saw your face and lit up when we talked about heroes. But here's the one thing foundationally before we explain what it is I want people to understand is that in this pivot conversation that Freed is having us have, is that many of us put ourselves in a position where when we don't pivot or things don't work the way that we want, we allow for the disappointments, we allow for life that sometimes can start lifing to make us feel that we're less than. We allow for the disappointment of the actions that have happened to us to now be an indictment to our character as opposed to feedback for a change of behavior. And so because we have done that, we now see ourselves less than what we were created to be. I'm ordinary. I'm not good enough. I'm not this. But the foundational theme behind Vyrós is this: we are fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are the works of his hands that we know so well. And if that is true, then when God created us, you were never ordinary. You were never just a mistake. So how do we get people who have gone through some experiences in their lives, but it's this whisper in their hearts and their spirit that they've been trying to ignore and trying to be okay with to get back to the purpose that they were created for? That's that whisper, I call it the hero's call. That there's something bigger for me past this moment. And so understanding through the coaching and what people have given me through feedback from the first book, as I said, we got to gather the people together. And we're still getting used to being back outside, so to speak. So October the 4th and the 5th, Vyrós is a live event that is going to have 3 parts to it. And I want people to understand there's going to be 3 parts to this thing. It's a move first for it's going to be a conference. So you're going to get a chance to gather with like-minded people. We got a litany of speakers that are coming in that are global brand marketers. We got PhDs and human sciences and social work. So you're going to walk out inspired, you're going to walk out informed, and you're going to walk out equipped. Because the one thing we didn't want to do is have you all excited and don't know what to do. We're going to make, I want you to understand, you're going to walk out inspired, informed, and equipped. The next part is we're going to celebrate the launching and the release of my new book that weekend. So it's going to feel like one part book release. We're going to celebrate that. We're signing books for people that are there. We're going to make it available for those that are there. Actually, for the people who are there, we got some surprises for you that make it happen, that you can actually get some things before it launches the following week. So we got that. So we got conference, we got book release, but the third piece, we gonna have a party. We gonna have a good time. Yep, we got 360 photo booth, red carpet, taking pictures, really good chefs that are coming in to serve us. Why are we gonna have the party? And to me, it's one of the most important pieces. Is that I never want people to feel like that doing the hard work doesn't have to be fun. That doing the hard work is always going to be arduous. And I want to celebrate that these people who are awakening the hero piece, or now understand that they can be legends in their own right, in their field and in their purpose, that we want to celebrate you. So we got DJ, food, put on the good clothes. We're going to have a ball. So Vyrós is a live event that's got 3 parts to it. It's a really transformative, what I would call a hybrid event that is something that you do not want to miss. So before I keep going crazy, Free, let me stop talking and turn it back to you.
I love when you describe it because it gets me hyped. Like I want to go. So the tangible transformation, you're going to be inspired, you're going to be informed, and you're going to leave equipped to take action. And a lot of where people lose trust is that there's just information. So go to Vyrós, get involved, and be transformed, not necessarily with the information, but being equipped to take action. And I think it's very important to celebrate. Congratulations on the new book launch. I know it's going to be dope. I want to, with that said, transfer over to this next question as we get ready to land the plane on this conversation. And it's been an amazing conversation. If you're listening, follow at Ask Aaron Victor, okay? Because this man is the real deal. There are 3 things that you mentioned on Get Over the Hump. I would love for you to just say something about Get Over the Hump. And I remember I was having a really tough week and I felt a little lost one day. And you asked, it was the first time I heard these 3 questions about what type of week you're having. Like this really gets me. So I'd love for you to break that down.
Yeah. So Get Over the Hump is on Instagram Live every Wednesday and Friday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern. And we let the replays sit. I'm working on something for my West Coast people. I ain't forgot about y'all. I just want to be consistent so I show up. So, but again, every Wednesday and Friday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern, we do this thing called Get Over the Hump. We bring in leaders, entrepreneurs, creatives, influencers, professionals together in that space, in that chat, on that live to create a fresh and unique perspective needed to give us that that push to get us to the other side. So one of the things I ask, if you go follow me right now, go pull up an episode, you're going to hear me ask these 3 questions every time. And it's not out of routine. It's because I believe when the Bible says there's power, life, and death is in the tongue, that we need to be able to operate the right power. I'm turning on power of life. I'm not turning on power of death. So it has to come in our confession. And a lot of times the confession that we have with ourselves is the worst one. So this was inspired, and I'm gonna give them to you, but I want you to understand this context, people. This was inspired back when Dr. Dre, Snoop, 50 Cent, Mary J. Blige, all of them was at the Super Bowl. And I remember watching this thing, you know, me and Freed about the same age in the same spot, and I felt like a little kid. Like the albums just came out, like, oh my God, man, this is crazy. And we in the house going crazy, and my friends talking about, man, that was one of the best Super Bowl halftimes ever. And I'm going, and it hit me, I'm like, why are we going crazy for music that's almost 40 years old? I said, oh, there's something in that. I said, there's a part in our human nature, in our human psyche that says, you know something, man, I'm too old now. I can't do this. Man, you know, I'd have made these mistakes, man. I can't do this. And the first one came up was, I'm a classic. That's classic music. Classic music doesn't need an explanation. It just evokes an emotion. And I'm going, same thing for classic cars. Same thing for classic movies. You know your favorite part in the classic movie. You know why you love the classic car. So I'm like, oh, me personally, I'm a classic. And what happens, how do we define being a classic? It means that I am no longer explaining myself to people who insist on seeing me through their own lens. I'm a classic. I'm gonna keep my peace. Second thing that came from all that inspiration from the Super Bowl was my dopeness doesn't expire. And that one for a lot of people messes with folks. Man, I'm supposed to have it done by now. Man, I mean, I can't believe I'm not there. And I'm going, says who? The Bible says that he will restore what the cankerworm and the locust ate up. He said he's going to restore it. So if that's true, let me go back to us going crazy for Dr. Dre and snooping them with these old songs. That means what? My dopeness doesn't expire. That means I can be present because I know this. I'm on time, set to arrive in time to impact the people I'm supposed to at the right time. So I can chill out and be present. So that's my dopeness doesn't expire. And then the last one is the title of the best-selling book. I'm built for this. And a lot of times we don't like the fact that we built for hard stuff, but you built for hard stuff. How do I know? Because what was meant to kill you gave you life. What was meant to destroy you developed you. So what's in front of you don't stand a chance. I'm built for this. So when you think through either one of those options, when it's I'm a classic, my dopeness doesn't expire, I'm built for this, we make it personal. We don't give it to somebody else. We make it personal to ourselves. And now we can own our attitude, own our perspective, where we put ourselves in a position where the visions of our mind can ultimately become the reality of our lives. And now we can take consistent steps in the direction that we desire, that we're ultimately meant to go, creating clarity and confidence. So those are three things we say every Wednesday and Friday morning. And I want people to identify because you feel different when you say it.
I would encourage you, if you're listening to this, if your week is rocky, even if your week is going well, any of those three categories are life and they advance you. So I just remember, and I think you were traveling, you were on an airplane, and I think there were some delays or something, and you weren't having the best, time, but you were able to categorize it. Like, I'm built for this. That's a seminar in a sentence, or a keynote, if you will. So thank you for breaking that down. I can't wait to highlight that. Aaron, as we land the plane on this conversation, I'll pass the mic over to you. Tell the people where to find you. We already know about the event coming up, but I'll let you close us out here on the Art of Being Free. This has been a tremendous conversation. So go ahead, close it out. Let's let the people know where we can find you.
Oh man, listen, Freed. Thank you so much for inviting me to the Art of Being Free, man. Listen, we've been talking about this for a while and our schedules didn't connect, and I'm so honored to be here. So first, let me say thank you to you for just making space on your platform for me to be here, man. I am honored and humbled to be here. Real talk, no gas. I mean it. If you want to find me, want to follow me, hey, let me check this dude out. I've never heard of him. Just happen to be checking out Freed. This dude over here going crazy. Listen. If you're on Instagram, go follow me at Ask Aaron Victor, at Ask Aaron Victor. Just hit the follow button. Come check me out. Turn your notifications on. Come see us on Wednesdays and Fridays. Get over the hump. I promise you. It will put you in a position where you'll see things a little bit different, and it'll make your week a little bit different. All for the right reasons. And for those that say, man, I want to be a part, like you got excited, like Freed got excited, that you want to be a part of this hybrid 3-move event where you want to leave engaged, equipped, informed, inspired, then I want to see you at Vyrós. I want to see you. I want to see you in Washington, D.C., October the 4th and the 5th for this live event where we're going to celebrate this transformation of this equipping, this mindset changing to be able to go get everything done that's been in your heart and your spirit. Whether it's getting out of debt, whether it's transforming your family, whether it's launching a business, you will have the headspace clear with the tools to navigate the difficult days that may come ahead to be able to go get everything done. That's what heroes do. That's how they fight the villains, is they're equipped and they're inspired to do something greater than the moment, and they're around the right people. That's October the 4th and the 5th. The people who believe that they will leave this world better than they found it. I hope to see you. Listen, I could keep going, but just know this, I'm super pumped about it and honored, Freed, to be here with you, bro.
Appreciate you, Aaron. Make sure you all follow Aaron at Ask Aaron Victor on Instagram. Get over the hump every Wednesday and Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern. I do my best to get up. It's 4 my time, but I do my best to at least watch the replay. We're going to share all the details. Aaron, I can't wait to continue to see your journey and you grow, and you've helped many people, many creators. You certainly have helped me. So it's an honor to be able to have this conversation. There are going to be a lot of folks who are going to hear this and they're going to be transformed. The Bible talks about being transformed in the renewing of your mind. And this is a conversation that has certainly transformed my mind. I'm very energized to get this out. So thank you so much for coming through. Thank you all for listening. Leave a 5-star review wherever you are hearing this. Give this a thumbs up or a like if you're watching on YouTube. Aaron, thank you for coming through. Until next time, this is your host, Freed, with the Art of Being Freed. I will see you soon. Peace.